My name is Arlene, and I'd like to welcome you to the St. Mary's Center Board of Supervisors, District 3 Candidate Forum. This program is hosted by St. Mary's Center Hope and Justice Committee. St. Mary's is a 501c3 organization providing a community of hope, healing, and justice dedicated to improving the well-being of seniors and preschool families in West Oakland by meeting basic needs for food, housing, and social connection. We do not endorse political candidates. So I just wanted to clear that up first. Okay. St. Mary's Center conducted 2 leadership academies in 2021 and 2022, comprised of seniors who had lived experience of homelessness and housing instability. This past summer, the cohort developed a series of policy platforms for which we will be advocating at future supervisors meetings, budget committee meetings, and discussions of Measure W appropriations. Money, people. We need money to make things happen. This is real, this is serious, and this is earnest. Okay, it is our hope that the board will listen to and rely on people with lived experience as they craft budgets and policies. And not only listen, but we also want them to apply what is being asked by lived community, because the lived community know best what they need more than anybody else. As they craft budgets and policies like Home Together 2026 and 2022-2023. My name is Arlene Hipp, a graduate of Leadership Academy 1 and 2, and I served on the Plan 2026 Home Together Steering Committee, along with St. Mary's Center's Executive Director, Sharon Cornu. We will hear from Sharon now. One moment.
Good morning, and thank you for being here. I'm Sharon Cornu, the director here at St. Mary's Center, and I'm very sorry I can't be with you this morning. Deeply appreciative of our candidates who made the time to come talk with St. Mary's seniors, and to the 2 cohorts of Leadership Academy 1 and 2, and everyone participating today as we look at the policy priorities that our Leadership Academy and our membership has endorsed and asked the county to look at. We don't always see the work that Alameda County does, but it's a really important resource for social services, our senior homeless services programs, and our community center here at St. Mary's. So I'm glad we have a chance to look today at what the county can do. And I want to call on our candidates and call on our friends at the City of Oakland to take care of a little family business. I raised 2 boys. When they were little kids, they rolled around on the floor like bear cubs. They finger pointed, they fought with each other. One said at one time, "He hit me back first." And sometimes that happens between our city and our county. And we need them, like my sons, to come to a point in time and to grow up and to be able to work together and to deliver results for people that are really counting on them, like all of us together in this room. I'm so excited for today's forum. I'm so excited for the work we'll be doing together next year to campaign for these policy priorities, and so deeply appreciative of the work of our Leadership Academy, our staff, our membership at St. Mary's Center, our senior advocates for hope and justice, our Council of Elders, and our Leadership Academy. Thank you for everything you do.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. The death of Supervisor William Chan, whose birthday was yesterday, was a sad day for all who loved her and all the people in Alameda County and California for whom she fought. Wilma Chan was a progressive champion for the underserved and vulnerable in all her working on housing, from participating in the point-in-time count to funding child care for homeless families and meals for unhoused veterans, to fighting for needed ballot measures, Supervisor Chan priority was that the voices of individuals being impacted was heard as advocacy grew and policies were developed. I want to thank both candidates for joining us. Oakland City Council member at large and current Vice Mayor, Rebecca Kaplan and Lena Tam. Lena Tam, former Vice Mayor of the City of Alameda and Chair of Alameda County Planning Board. Okay, now on to housekeeping. We will now give you 2 minutes each. Ms. Tam first to deliver opening remarks.
Good morning, and thank you for having me at this forum. As elected officials and appointed officials, we don't all have the solutions. We need to help facilitate these type of forums, so I'm really appreciative of St. Mary's for putting together this forum and coming up with the findings from your study and looking at your priorities. I am Lena Tam. I had served on the Alameda City Council as Vice Mayor, and I also chaired the Alameda Healthcare District Board, which governed Alameda Hospital, and I also chaired the Alameda County Planning Commission. In all of these capacities, I have been a stalwart champion when it comes to making sure that we have adequate housing. When I was on the Alameda City Council, I approved and got housing built for our low-income seniors, for the disabled, and for the workforce. When I was on the Alameda County Planning Commission, I entitled 2,400 new homes that were close to transit. And one of the things that we need to look in terms of improving housing and providing housing services is to look at the availability of land that's close to infrastructure, whether it's Alameda Point, whether it's over at the Oakland Coliseum former site, or any other public lands. We need to make sure that we as a city and a county work together to provide those services for all of our community. Wilma Chan was my champion when it came to serving people that needed a voice. I'm the daughter of immigrant parents, so I have helped my parents deal with bilingual access to healthcare. So I appreciate the need to have those kind of services from the county, and I want to be your champion in getting them available to everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And so now we're going to continue on with housekeeping. And I want to ask everyone to speak slowly because we have interpreters. Okay, and we want to make sure that everyone has access. We're going to also ask a series of 6 questions from the audience, rotating the order of who answers first. We're going to now go to Rebecca Kaplan.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much. Can you hear me all right there in the room? Hi, good morning. Is my sound coming through okay to you?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I so appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation here with all of you, both those of you who are in the room, and I see many of you have joined on Zoom as well. Thank you so much for putting this together. My name is Rebecca Kaplan, and I'm very honored to serve you as your Oakland Council member at large, representing the entire city of Oakland, as well as your Vice Mayor. Prior to that, I served you on the AC Transit Board, representing the entire East Bay, where we fought for discount passes for youth and for seniors, for better paratransit and improved service in our community. I got involved in politics first while I was an undergraduate at MIT, volunteering on the campaign of Senator Kennedy of Massachusetts, who role modeled and uplifted the importance of using public resources to improve the lives of people. On the Oakland City Council, I have fought for funding and land for affordable housing and homeless services, including as council president, I wrote a budget that included a substantial increase in funding for affordable housing, including for St. Mary's, as well as other vitally needed affordable housing and homeless services. The county controls the majority of the homeless services funding and controls many acres of public land and even hundreds of houses that are sold at tax auction. All of those are resources that could be and should be used to help solve our homeless crisis. And I would be very honored to serve you and make sure that those resources are delivered to serve our community needs. Thank you so very much.
Okay. First, I want to introduce you to our timekeeper, Rio. Okay. We're moving on to our next series of questions. We'll have 6 of them, of which you will be allowed 2 minutes to answer the questions. Okay, first question up is Ann Bradley. That's this.
Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be here at this forum. I'll go right into the question. Cities are responsible for waste pickup and disposal. Nothing prohibits the county from contracting for waste removal for their properties and unincorporated areas. Homeless encampments and communities need service like any other resident or business. This is a public health issue. Will you work with local governments and the unhoused community to provide basic sanitation services, and how?
We're going to pass this to Ms. Lamb. Yes, you first.
Thank you for the question.
My apologies, Tam. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I wasn't sure whether you wanted me to go first or.
Yeah, you're first.
When I am not working in the elected office, I work at East Bay Mud. I'm an environmental and civil engineer by training. So providing sanitary services is crucial, and it's part of our mission, particularly when it comes to safe drinking water and having sewer services. And we've had issues in our watershed when it comes to illegal dumping. And we've worked very hard in the unincorporated area and cooperating with a number of different organizations to make sure that we have facilities that are safe and healthy for our community, all of our community, whether they're housed or unhoused. So one of the things that I am committed to doing is working very closely with these agencies and with all the community groups to ensure that we have the kind of, whether it's garbage pickup time, whether it's making sure we have toilet facilities, sanitary facilities. And the county does have a direct role in contracting with companies for the unincorporated area. And then the city obviously have their own contracts. And this is something I am committed to doing definitely within the unincorporated area and cooperating with the cities on.
Thank you, Ms. Tam. Now, Rebecca?
Yes, thank you so much. Absolutely. The county needs to work collaboratively with the cities, and I really appreciate what Sharon Cornu said. And frankly, it's part of why we need the type of leadership I'm seeking to bring at the county. The Oakland City Council, through our council president, sent a formal request to have a joint city-county collaborative on homelessness, and the county thus far has refused. If I have the incredible honor to serve you as supervisor, I would work to remedy that immediately and launch that city-county joint effort, including specifically the county controls most of the homeless services funding and has legal responsibility also over environmental health, and so can and should take action about the illegal dumping, the trash, the sewage that is on the streets and causing a public health hazard. That includes seeking to provide regular trash pickup from homeless encampments with the carts like is provided regularly elsewhere. But it also means cracking down on the illegal dumping that housed people think they can get away with illegally dumping near a homeless encampment. We have people who market themselves as haulers and pocket people's money, and they say they're going to take your stuff to the dump, and then they dump it illegally and take that money. We need to create a county-wide hauler registry program to be able to track and shut down those who are illegally dumping on our community. Also, the sewage is a real hazard, and I propose to open managed, regulated RV sites throughout the county where people living in vans and RVs can have access to trash service, sewage service, and staff on site so that we have well-managed facilities that people can use to turn their lives around and don't have trash and dumping on our streets. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The second question is from Ms. Luana Evans. Second question is from Luana Evans, who is online. And Luana, can you speak slow for our interpreters?
Good morning. Yes, I'm with the sanitation and hygiene for our unhoused friends of friends. The unhoused are sometimes denied services from local businesses based on their looks and lack of grooming. The lack of access to showers and laundry facilities often add to depression and overall mental health. People need regular access to safe, clean, free laundry and showers to improve health and well-being while unhoused.
What ideas?
My
What ideas?
ideas is safety is a concern. Security would be necessary. I do support use of abandoned buildings to provide showers and laundry. Also exchange of clothing and food pantries, pharmacy for necessity of daily obligation. There can be other resources incorporated into servicing our unhoused friends of friends.
Okay, we're going to first pass it to Rebecca.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, the question is, the unhoused are sometimes denied services from local businesses based on their looks and lack of grooming. The lack of access to shower and laundry facilities often adds to depression and overall mental health. People need regular access to safe, clean, free laundry and showers to improve health and well-being while unhoused. What ideas do you have for this problem and what programs would you support? Rebecca
Thank
first.
you. Absolutely. That is so important. And one of the steps we took at the Oakland City Council is to vote to use city-owned land and city-owned buildings for these purposes. In fact, you may have heard there was a big argument this week where my dear colleague, Councilmember Carol Fife, is pushing for city land to be opened up for people moving off of Wood Street. And we are working to make sure that that happens. And yes, there need to be showers that are regularly available. One of the things we fought for in our recent budget is funding for plumbing so that we would have showers there on a regular basis and not have to wait for the occasional visit, and to make sure that the modeled encampments have those facilities. We also voted to give a city-owned building, the former garage by City Hall, to be converted to be allowed to provide these types of resources. The county owns even more properties, including the courthouse complex downtown that can be repurposed as multi-use housing and services. We have authorized to build a new service center at the Coliseum, and the council approved my proposal to have a development there that would prioritize affordable housing for the community as well as other services. We need to have those laundry facilities and shower facilities that are open every day, and I would be very honored to work with you to ensure that those are fully developed and made accessible, and that we treat people who are unhoused with dignity and respect. Thank you.
Okay, we will now pass this to Ms. Tam.
I also fully support the use of abandoned sites, public lands to provide sanitary services. So the county has what's called the coordinated entry system, and we try to keep tabs on all of the various navigation centers that are available in the county. And so if you are unhoused and if you're in need of service, you can go to any navigation center. We can get you to the type of facilities that you need, even if you don't get permanent housing. But the very least you can do is have access to basic sanitary services, whether it's showers, it's toilets, even a temporary place to change and recharge, because you are absolutely right. Not having this kind of access contributes tremendously to depression and mental health anguish that is something that we at the county need to do a better job on, and making sure that we have those kind of facilities.
Thank you. Okay, we are at item number 3. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me, everybody, with this back and forth, this sort of hybrid I'm not accustomed to, so please forgive my ignorance. Okay, we are now going to Ms. Sheila Gay online with question number 3. Good morning, Sheila.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you. Many people experiencing homelessness suffer at times from mental health issues. In outreach work with St. Mary's Center, our churches, and other community organizations, even out of our own experience, we've seen the need for real-time access to quality mental health services that are sensitive to people's experience, based on an informed understanding of trauma, culturally competent, and informed by people with lived experience. Measure W could fund a program similar to Macros or better. What programs would you support to improve and expand mental health response? And also, would you support funds for a peer-to-peer training program that would engage people who with lived experiences?
Okay, we're going to pass this first to Ms. Tam.
Thank you for the question. I absolutely support increasing and expanding programs like Macro in Oakland, which has been in effect for about 6 months. In my city in Alameda, we've had this program for about 2 years with funding from the county that basically provides alternatives to responses to mental health crisis. In our city, we have licensed clinicians, but the county needs to do a better job with the investment in both staffing, because we just don't have enough licensed clinicians and behavioral health experts that can help respond to these kind of crises that we are seeing in our community. So I am planning on working very closely with my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors, if elected, to get access to about at least $10 billion from the state that will be allocated to address specifically these kind of issues. And this is something that we in Alameda County desperately need, because we are seeing capacity that is beyond availability at John George, for example, and people that are treated at John George should not return back to the streets because they need longer term care at places like the Bonita House and other facilities. And I want to fully expand those programs.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I also want to mention, we don't want them going through care courts and winding up incarcerated. Okay? Just my personal opinion, okay? And so now we are going to pass it on to Rebecca Kaplan.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Yes, there has been millions and millions of dollars wasted and lives undermined by using mass incarceration instead of mental health treatment. And the county jail has become the place that people are sent when what they need is mental health support. And it has undermined people's lives and it wastes a huge amount of money. And frankly, that's part of why I fought so hard for Oakland to create a crisis responder program using civilians so that people needing mental health support wouldn't end up locked up, because we now send trained community-based civilian crisis responders instead of police to those calls. And it's great hearing Macro get so much support now, and the state has given us millions of dollars to expand it. But it was a fight, and it was denounced as too radical to do anything but mass incarceration for mental health when I worked with grassroots community to first propose it. But I was willing to fight the good fight for what our communities need. And we got that program going, and we're not restricting it to only licensed clinicians, because that means you don't get people with the cultural competency and they don't reflect the community. So with the program I helped design, they're not required to be licensed clinicians. We are doing training and recruitment in the community, and I would bring that strategy to the county. We need civilian mental health response that is available 24/7, that has community-based mental health housing as well as services, that recruits and trains people from the community with that knowledge and that cultural sensitivity and that trauma-informed approach, and that reaches people earlier before they hit that crisis and doesn't use jail as the solution. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to piggyback on this because I think it's really important for peers to be educated and trained to go out in the community to work with those who are familiar with them. But I also want to encourage education, not education in the community colleges. If we don't have enough clinicians, do we have enough pools of people who can go to college and become educated to become the clinicians that we don't have, to become the nurses or the technicians that we don't have? We're qualified. Just because we've gone through issues doesn't mean that we don't have capabilities. And so with that being said, we're going to keep this moving, and I'm going to pass it on to Carolyn Hutton.
Thank you. Okay, Alameda County operates housing resource centers for women leaving domestic violence situations and transition age youth, but not for seniors. Too close? Okay. Okay, but not for seniors. The fastest growing, but not for seniors. The fastest growing segment of the unhoused population. However, homelessness is experienced 24/7, nights, weekends, and holidays. We know that some things that would help are transportation to, from encampments, case management, legal counseling support, space for advocacy and organization, and free prepaid transportation. What thoughts and ideas can you share about improving and expanding access to coordinating information centers and better information?
Do you want me to repeat the?
I was real
I got, no, you did good, baby. Don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you.
Do either of you need me to repeat it?
It's no problem. Heard her good.
You got it? Okay. You got it, baby. All right. We're going to pass it on to Ms. Tam.
The county has the coordinated entry system that basically matches and prioritizes the needs of people that are unhoused. But I hear you completely when it comes to our seniors, which is, like you said, one of the fastest growing part of our unhoused population. And one of the projects that that's dear and near to me right now that I'm really trying to push and wanting to see more county funding for is we have seniors that have to go to the hospital. They have to go to the emergency room, but they need compassionate care once they're released because they can't stay in a hospital for a very extended period of time. A lot of them also need hospice care. And so one of the things we're trying to do is get a collaboration going, whether it's between the county, with Kaiser, with foundation funds, and to build a facility that would provide that kind of healthcare service, especially for our seniors. The navigation centers that I talked about, that I visited and I've worked with, they also can help provide transportation funding, rental assistance for transitional housing. They can do job training. They can also provide a center for learning and community gatherings so people can have that social interaction to understand how they can get the kind of access to the services that they need. And I would fully support moving forward with a lot of that as your county supervisor.
Thank you. Now, Rebecca Kaplan.
Thank you so much. In order to repair what is not working, we have to acknowledge it. And while the county is supposed to have a coordinated entry system, many, many people do not end up getting served. They're given multiple phone numbers to call. They're told there's no space. They're told to wait for a call back that doesn't come. I have personally worked with friends and neighbors and seniors who have been turned away and not housed through that system. So we need to be willing to confront that and change that. Some of the steps I've taken so far in my current role include putting aside city-owned land and city-owned buildings for this purpose. We are currently applying for state home key funds to build a facility specifically for homeless seniors who are so underserved. And we have worked to acquire dorms and hotels for that purpose. But the current system is not adequately serving our seniors. We need to provide universal transit passes, easier and more reliable access to paratransit, as well as to have free passes for regular transit. We also need to provide food and healthy meal delivery, which is something we got funded in the recent Oakland budget. And we need to understand that there is a lack of accessible housing. For many people who have mobility disabilities or other challenges, there is not sufficient housing that is accessible. And so that also needs to be a component of this effort, including recognizing that the percentage of seniors has been going up and up and up, and that needs to be specifically addressed and not just lost in the coordinated entry system, which is not adequately reaching them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And yeah, populations are living longer. We are still here and we are not included in a lot of the design. So I'm so happy to hear that you guys are basically thinking of seniors as well. We're going to keep this moving, and we are now to question number 5 with Shirley Matthews.
Okay, the question was, will you support a housing bond for Alameda County? whether it's the renewal of Measure A1 or 9-county Bay Area measure, yes or no, and why? I didn't understand Measure A1, but I'm a person with lived experience, and my experience with people who live in the housing, I see the stagnation of their blindness to the resources that are available to them outside of housing. And I feel that there should be that they should have more resources of what's going on to get the word out of what's needed.
You want to publicize the information more because it's not publicized.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to get the information publicized more because it's not there. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
You guys know the question. We're gonna go to Rebecca first and then Ms. Tam, 2 minutes.
Thank you so much. Yes, 100%. I will absolutely support more funding for homeless housing and affordable housing, including through additional bonds. And I want to say, when we're running for office, I want to make clear that this isn't something I'm just saying now while I'm campaigning. When the Oakland administration was writing a bond measure, I insisted that significant funds be included for affordable housing and got that change made. And when I was writing a measure to create a tax on vacant properties so that speculators wouldn't just sit on houses and take them out of the community, I wrote it to require the funding to go to affordable housing and homeless services. And so this is a dedication I have served throughout my career, and the county, which controls a lot more money and a lot more real estate, should be doing so as well. And I would fight for that change, including with a bond measure. And let me also address this question of the other services. It is really important that we combine on-site housing and other support services and access to sign up for other programs. That's part of why it's valuable to use things like dorms and hotels and other existing buildings where we can give people rooms to get off the streets right away, and also have staff on site and other programs on site that can get people access to other needs so that they get both housed and support and services. And so I would work to ensure that we do that as well. And when the city of Oakland and the county of Alameda were each voting on what to do with a piece of large public land that we co-own, I insisted on the inclusion of affordable housing and community services, and that is now part of what the city of Oakland has authorized, and I would do so as supervisor too. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I also support funding, particularly earmark funding to address our homeless problem, because that is a priority issue for the county. But more importantly, we need to have accountability as well. When we put funding together for under Measure A1, and then there's about $150 million a year that will be coming under Measure W to address these issues with homelessness. But the recent audit that was done in the city of Oakland showed that $69 million in the city of Oakland was spent over 3 years, but nobody knew whether or not the people that got the funding got to permanent housing. And that is something that needs to be changed. And we need to make sure that our dollars that are spent go to the kind of services and the kind of housing that's very much needed. The audit also found that we are way behind in terms of providing our housing needs. We, in the next 5 years, imagine this, need 26,000 new housing units to move the unhoused into permanent housing. So far, under Measure A1, we've only built like 3,200. That's not acceptable. We need to find ways to accelerate making sure that we have adequate housing in the county for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oops, thank you so much. I didn't know I pressed the button, but I thank you for mentioning that. I also was looking at the audit report, and I was looking at the funding, and one of the things that's really interesting is the collaboration or lack of collaboration amongst all of the agencies that are doing this work. And I think better collaboration, if funding was just done to centralize all of the services that's all of the services that are applicable. Services that are applicable to this particular issue. I think that's something that really needs to be focused on. The other thing is the depletion of housing on a state level. The depletion of housing, even though it's not a large portion, is gaining momentum as well as displacement. And I really think that we need to consider on a state level a halt to speculators coming in and depleting the housing market, whether it's speculators, whether it's travel, Airbnb, Verbo, whatever those organizations are, that's the housing extraction that's going on. And so I'm just going to say that really quickly, and I'm going to keep it moving because that's just something I've been thinking about. We're going to keep this moving. And we are now at question number 6, and we have Miss Cecilia Wynn.
Hello, you all. My question is short, so I'd like to start off by saying I am honored to meet you, Rebecca Kaplan and Lena Tam. I have also had the opportunity to meet Libby Shaft, Jean Kwan, and I've been working with Keith Carson forever. So my question is, let me get to the point. Will you come with us to visit a housing resource center, stand in line, and see how it works? To the point, to the point. Either or can respond.
Yes, thank you very much. I would be happy to do that. Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I would also be very happy to do that. I recently toured 36 tiny homes out in Fairview, and
yeah, okay. Yeah, I know.
sorry about the technical difficulties. I didn't know how that mic kind of went exploding the other way. Yes, I would very much like to see as many projects as I can, and I have had the opportunity to see some of the ones that were built out in the unincorporated area with tiny homes, and also looking at ways in which we can work more collaboratively, whether it's the cities with the different community groups, with the developers, to get more of these types of projects built. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Tam. And
Testing.
I think that was I'm sorry. I think that was the end of the questions, but once again, I always have thoughts on these things. And so I'm going to remark while I have an opportunity. And one of the things that's really interesting is a lot of funding has been given for employment. Like, I think it's like $10,000 per person for those with lived experience. However, on a federal level, if you live in subsidized housing or if you receive any kind of government assistance, you are penalized if you try to elevate your life and you receive additional income. And so I really want to put that out there to you, because a lot of conversation is going around people with lived experience, but then you're penalized if you try to elevate yourself. And so I really want to, kind of put that out there, because we are very limited. And with the housing market and the cost of living being what it is today, I just really would like both of you to consider that, to really think about advocating. If you're talking about people with lived experience, this is something that people with lived experience need in order to come out of the conditions that they are. So with that being said, people need to be compensated for the work that they do. Because a lot of people, the largest population of volunteers are, first of all, they're women, there's retirees, and then there's low income. And so even if you're a retiree and you have enough income, that's cool. But if you are retired not by choice because of life or life's events, then you need additional income. The cost of food is going up, cost of gas is going up, housing is off the chain. There needs to be a cap, really, to me personally, on rents. Rents are just really outrageous. And so the second thing that I really was thinking about was, I think it's in San Francisco, like the housing situation there, they have a universal program. So once you put something in one place, it's in all of the places. And so I was thinking about how many people are homeless, right? And when you need ID, when you need various things, think about a universal program. So all of your documentation, if you put it in for one, you're going to need it for all. So I was really thinking about universal programs that's really going to assist people and expedite the movement through the system quicker, instead of the delays that's halting them, especially with vouchers, which only have a short window. I think it's 4 months? And if you don't use it after 4 months, and so there's a lot of discrimination going on with landlords as well, because they don't want to take the vouchers. So then that delays you. And if you don't have a good case manager, then what happens? You lose the voucher. And there's only a limited amount of vouchers anyway. And so we can't build our way out of affordable housing. So we're going to have to become a little bit more innovative in our thinking. And so I'm not going to say anymore because I see my time is up. I could go on and on, but anyway, I'm going to pass it on to Ms. Tam for closing remarks. It says opening, closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you again for inviting me to this forum and also sharing the priorities that were listed from your study and your research. That was very helpful in understanding how we can shape policy in the future. I would be honored to serve as your county supervisor. I bring the lived experience, as we talked about the importance of having lived experience as the daughter of bilingual immigrant parents and helping them with their healthcare needs. I want to be able to do that for a larger community. I have a broad experience working with the County Planning Commission, with the Healthcare District, as an engineer, and also as Vice Mayor of Alameda. I want to bring that level of broad experience and leadership to the Board of Supervisors to succeed the late Wilma Chan, who was my idol when it comes to making sure that we work on programs like All In to eradicate poverty in our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We will now pass this over to Rebecca Kaplan.
Good morning again, and thank you so much for this really important conversation. It is an honor to get to share some time with you together as we work to solve the growing crisis of homelessness. You are right that we need to bring innovative solutions to this. That includes creating managed RV sites so that they aren't dumping sewage in the streets and aren't being pushed from place to place. That includes recognizing that every year Alameda County sells hundreds of houses to out-of-state investors who are using them for speculation and they don't even put anyone in them. That is the tax auction county process. And as supervisor, I would work to fix that we prioritize those homes for affordable housing. I would work to ensure that we have city-county coordination on homeless services, that people only have to go to one stop and only have to put in their information once. I would ensure that there is dedicated housing for homeless seniors and that includes services on site as well as the housing. I have worked to make sure that there is funding available for these vital needs. And thank you. I have been honored to work with President Nikki Bass to push for the audit to see how the administration was misspending some of that money or failing to track it. And we're very thankful that our push for that tracking got that work done so that can be remedied. And that absolutely needs to be better handled in terms of how coordinated entry sees and tracks and admits people, including specifically for seniors. We recognize that those who are closest to the problem know the most about it, and I would be very honored to work to ensure paid work for peer-to-peer work, for peer-to-peer training, for paid job training, and to better support our community. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank our candidates for coming out and speaking with us. And we really hope that you really think about Measure W, think about considering organizations like St. Mary's and other senior organizations that are doing this work that can influence and direct policy, and not just policy, but the appropriations, where it's spent and how it's spent. And I'd like to thank the participants for coming out. This has been a wonderful experience, and I thank you for allowing me to MC. And I thank you for allowing me to have the companionship of my timekeeper here, Rio, and for St. Mary's hosting this. Thank you. And everyone that's online. Oh, wow, I forgot you guys. Everybody online. Hi, online. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Peace and blessings. Stay well and be safe.